Aslan hold my shofar for a moment. And the quiz today, this is just going to be a short video, but the quiz today is, does Aslan, who's a typology in C.S. Lewis's books, the Chronicles of Narnia, of the Lord Jesus himself, does he have his own shofar? And where does the Bible talk about him blowing his own shofar? Some of you love to answer me those little quizzes, and so we are here at the Church of the Frescoes in the backyard of the Episcopalian house where the sisters and different people come and stay sometimes. And here we have a wonderful portrait of what I'm going to call Aslan. It's been in stone. It's been here for many years. I mean, 50 or so. On the side you can see there's a girl riding him, just like in the Chronicles of Narnia. And right down here there is a lamb, where the lion and the lamb are together. So today I'm going to talk about some prophetic things, of course, and I want to tell you, I will upload, right after I upload this, a short video by John Paul Jackson, as well as some pictures, because I want you to be on God's timetable and see what God has been doing and the things that have been prophesied, how they are coming to pass, and so extremely, very quickly. Now, on John Paul Jackson's excerpt, he is all over the internet. I've narrowed it down to about a 5-minute thing, which I got off the Jim Bakker show. And some of the things I'm going to tell you today are like getting food. There is a shortage of food on Walmart shelves right now from a number of suppliers. They are anticipating that will be until the second week of August. And I'm going to put some pictures of our Walmart right here up in the mountains of North Carolina, where you wouldn't think there would be a shortage. You had something to say?
Just one picture.
Okay. Well, we have a picture of the sign there, and my camera person's talking to me, but that's okay. And so I'm going to be telling you some things about that. But the thing about John Paul Jackson, as far as food goes, if you want some food for end-time preparation, Amazon, look up Augustin Farms, will get to you in a day or two. James Bakker has great deals as well, but it takes you like 6 to 8 weeks to get. And so on my John Paul Jackson, I recorded that off of a recording that was on the Jim Bakker show. One thing that's not on there, and you have to realize this, is if you watch the longer version, which is about 55 minutes on YouTube or wherever it is, John Paul Jackson was actually prophesying this stuff in 2009. And he said he expected this perfect storm to get real in gear to where it would be happening fast 10 years from now. That places us at 2019, which is where we are today. And so we've been seeing these things happen. That's in that video that I'm going to upload shortly. But today I want to talk to you about a couple things that are not really on John Paul Jackson's list. Now, John Paul Jackson is not the only one. Myself, many others, we have seen things over the years, and I started posting stuff and telling people stuff about it as far back as 1995. However, John Paul Jackson, the Lord gave him a great platform to reach a lot of people with his prophecies, and we're seeing those come to pass now. Some of you will remember just prior to the last election, I said, listen, Donald Trump will be reelected, but it's going to be in a time of great duress. Well, if John Paul Jackson's words are right, and I believe they are, and we can see them right now, as 2019, 2020 comes in, we are going to be in a great time of duress by the next time an election happens, a presidential election in the United States of America. And so I want you to think about that as I'm going through some of these things. I'm going to start off today in Revelation chapter 6, 7, and I'm just going to read something, 6, very familiar to you. But before I do that, some of you need to go back and watch the Trump Prophecy. It is now on Amazon. The movie is for free by a guy named Mark Taylor. Now, why am I holding this in my hand while I'm talking about that? It may not be suitable for real young children because there's demonic manifestations in that movie. But the people that made that thing famous was Dr. and Mary Colbert. And they grabbed a hold of it and got it going. And this is what began to happen. All over America, famous people whose names you would recognize, like Michelle Bachmann and many Christian leaders, began to blow their shofars every single day prior to, starting back in around September, prior to the November election, and calling on the Lord for a righteous leader. And to them, the Lord had referred them to a man named Donald Trump. Well, he still is, he still will be, but I'm going to tell you right now, as this election grows closer in the next year, you need to get your shofar, you need to start blowing it, because the Lord responds to it and say, help, Lord, help this nation. John Paul Jackson has some very nice things, the way he puts it, about why this judgment is coming and why it's here now. And it really is coming, and it really is here now, and it's going to get exponentially worse until, and not only here but around the world, until there is repentance from sin. The if my people that are called by my name humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked way. 2 Chronicles 7:14. Now I am in Revelation in chapter 6, verse 12. I watched as he opened the sixth seal, and suddenly there was a great earthquake. The sun became black like sackcloth made from goat hair, and the moon became like blood. And the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its unripe figs when it is shaken by a strong wind. Then the heavens receded like a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and every island was removed out of its place. Now, islands have already been moved. Japan was, in that last earthquake that happened in Japan with the big tsunami, the island itself was relocated by 15 feet. It was no longer in the place it was before. But what I want to call your attention to, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth. And, you know, I have a number of prophecies that have gone on record, the warning about the coming tsunamis and earthquakes, and how the Lord told me, and the big angel was there out on the water, and he said, watch Hawaii. I'm going to get into that just before we end today, but will you give me, since this is an upload instead of a live, give me also a 10-minute figure, okay? We are limited to 19 minutes today because that's all you can do with an upload. And this right here is called, this is an article that was in Washington Post this week. It was also in the New York Times. It was also in many major newspapers around the world. And if you watch any astronomy sites, you're going to see something like this every week, sometimes 2 and 3 times a week. And it goes back to a revelation and a prophecy that I gave probably 15 years ago. Again, 6 years ago. And I was in a home of a pastor in Pennsylvania, and all of a sudden I saw through the ceiling, and I saw this asteroid coming on collision course with Earth, which when it says stars fell from heaven in Revelation 6, the actual word is asteres, from which we get the word asteroids. And as I was looking and saw it come down, the Lord spoke to me audibly and said, the centaurs are coming. I thought about Aslan on the move, the centaurs, the half horse, half man thing, and but I looked it up when I got home on the internet, and the centaurs are the asteroids that are in an asteroid belt just around the outside fringe of our solar system that is also called, I think, the Kuiper Belt. And the asteroids that are inside of that Kuiper Belt are actually called centaurs. Now this is just one of this week, but these have been happening weekly. This fellow here, his name is Alan Duffy, and I'm just going to read the article to you as fast as I can because I have a short amount of time today. Alan Duffy was confused. On Thursday, this was actually in the Washington Post. On Thursday, the astronomer's phone was suddenly flooded with calls from reporters wanting to know about a large asteroid that had just whizzed past Earth. That was this last Thursday. And he couldn't figure out why everyone was so alarmed. I thought everyone was getting worried about something we knew was coming. Duffy, who is lead scientist at the Royal Institution of Australia, told the Washington Post. Forecast had already predicted that a couple of asteroids would be passing relatively close to Earth this week. Then he looked up the details of the hunk of space rock named asteroid 2019 OK. I was stunned, he said. This was a true shock. This asteroid wasn't one that scientists had been tracking, and it had seemingly appeared from out of nowhere. Michael Brown, a Melbourne-based observational astronomer, told the Washington Post. According to data from NASA, the craggy rock was large, estimated 57 to 130 meters or 427 feet long, and moving 4 football fields, and moving fast along a path that brought it within 73,000 or kilometers or 45,000 miles of Earth. That's less than 1/5 of the distance to the moon. That Duffy, these astronomers consider that to be very uncomfortably close. It snuck up on us pretty quickly, they went on to say. People are only sort of realizing what happened pretty much after it's already flung past us. The asteroid's presence was discovered only earlier this week by separate astronomy teams in Brazil and the United States. Now, it shook me, he says, out of my morning complacency. He said, it's probably the largest asteroid to pass this close to Earth in quite a number of years. Well, not really. You know, the 10 times Hiroshima bomb that went off over the Bering Sea was an asteroid dissolving in the atmosphere. That happened in March. So how did the event almost go unnoticed? Well, one is its size. It's a sizable chunk of rock, but it's nowhere as big as the ones capable of causing an event like the dinosaurs. So he called this thing a city-destroying asteroid. Any big city in the world, you name it, this asteroid came into the atmosphere nearby it, it was gone. Nothing this size is so easy to detect. Now this is what is happening. These things are coming by week, numerous ones a month, and they are not on NASA or anybody else's radar, and they're totally unexpected. Really, the centaurs not only are coming, they are here. There just has not been a huge, major encounter yet where one of them actually hit land, other than in the ocean a couple of years ago and above the Bering Sea not too long ago. There was a nice meteor came down this last week, and the astronomers are asking people to go out and find pieces of it. If they could, they want to study it. But this, he said, the eccentric orbit and speed were likely factors in what made spotting it ahead of time challenging. Now, other articles have said that because they hit each other, because asteroids draw each other with their own gravity, that the orbits are totally unpredictable. The last-minute detection is yet another sign of how much remains unknown about space, and a sobering reminder of the very real threats asteroids can pose. It should worry us all, quite frankly, he said. It's not a holiday Hollywood movie. It's a clear and present danger. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12, the sixth seal, stars falling from heaven. The word is asteroids, and there's no doubt about it in my mind. It also coincides with these things hitting, causing massive earthquakes, as well as what John Paul Jackson talked about, a major volcano erupting in the United States of America. He said, it makes for a great Hollywood film. The challenge with a nuke is that it may or may not work, but it would definitely make the asteroid radioactive. In other words, if we could nuke these things, blast them out of the air, they would still come into the atmosphere, but then they would be radioactive. Stress the importance of investing in a global dedicated approach to detect asteroids, because sooner or later there will be one with our name on it. It's just a matter of when and not an if. And so then there's something here by Emily Lakadawala, senior editor of the Planetary Society. It's an important activity to be watching the skies. The more that can be learned about an asteroid, the better. Well, they end with this, which to me was very, first of all, they said it was moving at 54,000 miles per hour, and it was 45,000 miles away from the Earth when it went shing right by us just in the last couple of days. What does that mean? That means less than an hour away before they picked it up. That means you might get, if somebody ever gave us a warning, not counting the one that's been around for a couple thousand years now in this book, if someone ever gave us a warning, we might only get a warning for 40 minutes, and that would be about it. Well, it's the kind of thing where you learn about something that you didn't know about, like things flying close by to us, and your inclination is to be scared. But just like sharks in the ocean, they're really not going to hurt you, and they're really fascinating to look at. Question mark? Are you kidding me? There are now tagged over 35 great whites and tiger sharks off the Atlantic coast. There's been numerous attacks this year, people swimming in the Atlantic coast. One of them here in North Carolina, where the shark actually took off the lady's leg this year. Oh, they're not really going to hurt you, huh? No, these things are coming to pass, and they're coming to pass very, very, very quickly. So pay attention. Finally, this. I had this vision about this wave coming into California, and it was a huge, massive tsunami. The angel said, watch Hawaii. And I've been watching Hawaii, a lot of earthquakes, a lot of volcanic activity there, and all of that. But all of a sudden it just stopped right before it came into shore. And I said, Lord, what did this stop? And I really think it was an angel. He told me, he said, because this man, and these people right here are still here, and they have to move out of the way before this can come in. One of the men that was sitting there writing was a guy named Benny Hinn. Another one was a guy named say it out loud, please. Mario Murillo. And there were some others there too that were based in California. This week I got a letter, I'm still on Benny's mailing list, about Benny moving all of his operation to Dallas. These things are closer than you think, and you need to get ready. I'm going to continue next week. I've got my other studio just about up and operational again. I'm going to go back there this coming week, and I'm going to finish up preparing for water. Then I'm going to talk about different things, one after the other, about how to prepare for times to come. You don't want to miss those, and they will also be in this 20-minute time frame, most of them, so that they can be uploaded to multiple social media. This is Don Robertson, DreamMinistries.com, DreamMinistries.com, or just Dream Ministries, P.O. Box 300, Glendale Springs, North Carolina 28629. Don't forget the power of the shofar.